Good afternoon, fellow Amazonians. This is Mike Fusi, your humble host here on another episode of The War Zone. A weekly program that brings you highlights of the Amazonian struggle for the restoration of its independence. I'm glad to have you here with me today. Of course, there has been a lot happening in our struggle recently. A lot has been happening, and I'm here to share with you what we know and also to bring my panel that will be joining me shortly so that we can at least discuss some of the issues affecting our struggle and helping us to move forward. But before I do that, I would like for you to do me a favor and share the link. Bring as many people on so they'll be watching with us. We have to make sure that when we bring you information that there are a lot of people, enough people watching and getting it so we can, because the reason we do this, it takes a while to prepare these programs, first of all, I should let you know. So it is worthwhile making sure that we'll make maximum use of it. So thank you for coming on today. Again, I see, let me see who is watching here today. Let me see who is watching. I see Amber Truth Godchild, always here, Amber Truth Godchild. Glad to see you. Bobga Esther, always here as well. These are the regulars of the regulars, yes. I'm glad to see you watching. Please do me a favor, share the link and invite others to join us. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. What's in your mind? How is the revolution going? What do you think? Is there something bothering you? Are you excited? Let me know what you think. We need to know. Need to get the feedback from you so we can put it back into the program and share with others. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, please. Leave me a comment. Why you do that? Let me say this. There is an ongoing phenomenon right now, an ongoing phenomenon where we have a lot of hackers, people hacking phones left and right. I'm sure you have seen you yourself, either you have been a victim or you know someone who has been a victim of phones that are being hacked, especially in this our struggle. Some people have used it as an opportunity to get, because they know that a lot of us coming together here. Some people use it as a gathering point, almost like a shark going into waters with a lot of fishes. And some people, criminals, are coming in and victimizing some of our comrades. That's what's happening right now. It's very unfortunate. And it is not just online hackers, but people with dubious intentions coming in and tapping on the sympathies that we show our people and trying to take advantage of us. And that is something that we have to be very careful about, because you see some people will come in and say, oh, this has happened to me. My child has done this. I've lost my child in this war. I'm an IDP. I'm suffering here. And you go to find out, and it's all a lie. It is all a lie. So we have to be very careful. As much as we want to help, I think the lessons we are learning is that we have to be very careful, because there are people out there just trying to take advantage of the fact that we are sympathetic and we want to help our people. Criminals are coming in and trying to take advantage of us. And some people on the ground who pretend to be fighters will come in and say, oh, I'm a fighter, I'm suffering here, we don't have any tools. You go to investigate, and it's a lie. So we have to do our due diligence to make sure that when someone is crying out for help, that we investigate to find out that that person is authentic. Yes, we find out that that person is authentic, because there are a lot of criminals out there. And then coming back to this phone issue, to this phone hacking, it is just so prevalent these days, just so common. What they do is this. First of all, they call you, or they hack someone's phone, and what they do is they send you a code, and they tell you to either read back the code or send the code back to them. Once you send the code back to them, you give them access to your phone. They take over the phone and they have access to it. They can use your number to do criminal activity, and it is your identity that will be coming out as if it is you who is doing it. And you can really get into trouble for it. you can really get into trouble for it. So when somebody calls you and tells you to give them back and sends you a code and tells you to send it back to them, don't do it. Please do not do it. Another one is they send you a link and they tell you to click on that link. Do not click on the link. Don't click on the link except it is from somebody you trust. Sometimes even you may see it from somebody you trust, but you don't know that that person's phone has been hacked. So what you do is when you get such a thing and you are not sure, call the person, call them, and talk to them verbally before clicking any link. Most of the times when you call these, when these criminals are sending you the text message and you tell them to call you, they don't want to call you. And when you call them back, they don't want to pick up because they know you will detect that the voice that will be coming through will not be the voice of the contact that you have. So always try to call or tell them to call you. If they don't call you, don't click any link, don't send any code. Please be very careful. Be very careful out there. There are a lot of criminals, people who are not willing to work now. They just want to sit at home and use their keyboards to make money by stealing money from other people. That's what's happening now. So please be very careful with this phone hacking. It is very common now. Very common. We cannot allow our people to be victimized like this. So be very careful out there. And we will continue to bring you information about this as it goes. It is just crazy these days. And most of them are Nigerians. Most of them are Nigerians. But that's not to say that others cannot do it too. And sometimes Indians will do it too. But be very careful. Be very careful when you get these strange messages asking you to click on a link or to send them back a code. Do not do it. Do not do it. You do it, you regret it. Take over your phone. Sometimes they hack into your phone and they access your accounts. Maybe you have money, mobile money. They take everything out. They'll take everything out and you remain penniless. That's not good. All right, that's it. Now, I don't know if any of my panelists sign on. We have quite some topics to discuss here. Some of the topics are, we have heard, okay, Chairman Patrick is here. Good to see you, sir. We have the DDR Center, which has been notorious these days, where some of our ARFs, I don't know what's going on. I don't really know what they're thinking, but we're going to look at the DDR Center. What's going on there? How do they treat you when you go there? And what will they do to you eventually when you go to the DDR Center? We're going to take a look at that. We have also been observing something, a strange phenomenon happening with the ADF. We had a lot of back and forth. Capo Daniel and the ADF, they are in a loggerhead. Something is happening there. ADF is unraveling before our eyes. We take a look at what is going on there. And then, of course, we have to know that Ambazonia's freedom is but a matter of time. It is just a matter of time. It will happen, fellow Ambazonians. Believe me, Ambazonia will be free. You can trust me on that. Ambazonia will be free. It's just a matter of time. And La Republic knows it. La Republic knows it, but they are buying time to make sure that they can take as much of our resources as possible, and those in charge can steal as much money as possible before leaving. And of course, what kind of Ambazonia do we want to have in the future? We are going to start. We're not. It's a huge topic, so we will not be able to exhaust it in one program. So we'll start breaking it down piece by piece and explaining to the Ambazonian people the future of the country we call Ambazonia. What would it look like as compared to the quagmire that we have in La Republic of Cameroon, which La Republic is pretty much flying on autopilot right now. They are flying on autopilot. There's no leader. They don't have a leader right now. It's just a free for all. Anyone doing whatever they want, and their so-called leader is brain dead as we speak. So now that Chairman Patrick is here, I would like for us to start. And Comrade Mark will be joining us too. I know he's getting ready. He'll be joining us soon. So, Chairman Patrick, before we start, Why don't you say something to the viewers watching right now? Say hello to the Amazonian people watching.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Mike. Thank you to the Ambazonian people. And one thing that has been very certain is that the Ambazonian revolution is going to stay strong until the final day. We might see so many things happening. That is what a revolution is all about. And you take example from what South Africa went through. They had black legs everywhere. They had issues. They had factions. But at the end of the day, if you can be resilient and make sure the enemy doesn't have a resting spot in your territory, just rest to be assured that this country is going to be a reality. It might end up to be a few people that are going to be working towards this, but it's going to become a reality. No country, La Republic can never be the first, but no country has ever won any war against its own people. So let's make sure we keep up. The few that are dedicated to move on will move on until the final day. So thank you again for bringing me on today, and we're going to elaborate a little bit more on this. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming on board, Chairman Patrick. We have a rich menu for our viewers, and we'll be breaking it down, beginning with this story, the DDR Center. DDR Center. Is it really a center for the rehabilitation of former fighters, or is it something else? Is it a death sentence? Is it a prison, or is it a vacation? What is it? Is it a vacation hotel? Is it a prison? Or when you go there, you have been condemned? Is it a death row? Death row? Is it a death row? Are you just waiting to be executed? So we say so because recently we have this thing has happened. We've seen a few fighters. We started with, I think the recent famous one was Grandpa of Awing. And most of these people who go there, first of all, are not people who have been active in the field. These are people who previously were molesting our own people. First of all, people who normally are instead causing harm on our people. And when the people have turned up against them, and they don't find it, there's no hiding place for them. The safest place for them to go now is the DDR center to go and hide. And then when they get there, a lot of people will say, "Oh, one of Ambazonia's dreaded generals has surrendered to the DDR center." When you go to look at that person's background, and you realize they were not fighting anywhere, they were not doing anything productive for the struggle. So to us Ambazonians, we see it as good riddance, because these are people who were causing trouble amongst our communities. Uh, uh, okay, I have now Comrade Mark is here too, so my panel is complete. Before we proceed, then, Comrade Mark, why don't you say something to our viewers before we get into the topic?
Okay, good afternoon. I would like to thank everyone for joining the program today, especially Chairman Patrick, and it's an honor for me to join this panel today to talk about the pressing issues of the struggle. So I will chip in once, in time to time with the topic that we are talking about. So you can go ahead, Mr. Moderator.
All right. Thank you for joining, sir. Thank you for joining. It's a pleasure having you on the set of the War Zone. Chairman Patrick, as I was asking you before, I don't know, maybe we should break it in pidgin so that our people can understand, because this program is meant for them. Let's go do it the pidgin way. So we don't hear for quite some time now. People that they say, oh, this man don't come out go DDR center. They one don't come out go DDR center. Wait till be your understanding of which way it happened for that place where they call an DDR center.
Um, Comrade Mike, during war, there are situations that the enemy will find every possible way to interfere or get themselves into the fray so that they can be able to know what is going on in the other camp. What is going on in the La Republique area is they are using our boys as prisoners of war. That
Mm-hmm.
is not a DDR center. The war is not over. How can you rehabilitate people when the war is still going on? So they are using them like prisoners of war because at the end of the day, La Republic needs something that they are going to bargain on and say, okay, we need this from Amazonia and for us to release these guys that we have in our keeping. We know they have thousands of Amazonians who are in their prisons, but they do not have enough. They are using these guys as informants, and if this war goes for too long, the Republic will not even have the money to feed these guys. So what would they do? They will have to eliminate all of them. I will advise anybody who thinks he's tired or he's exhausted, he needs to take a break to find a safe territory to go to instead of going into the enemy's camp. You are not going anywhere where your life is going to be safe. If you've seen other fighters who are there, what is going on with them? Their lives are not anywhere better. They are not even able to come out and do one or two things. They've been there for 4 years and they're in prison. So why do
Yeah,
you think you are going to go there and make any difference and have any freedom? So it is really clear that La Republic understand that they are losing this war, and the only way they can infiltrate Amazonia is to use Amazonians to try to get into the minds of the Amazonian fighters. But the other part of it is if you look at the caliber of guys that are running into the DDR, when this Amazonian revolution started, it was a genuine fight until some of these fighters realized that it was a place for them to make money. It was a
mm-hmm.
place for them to harass the population and make some extra cash for themselves. And the diaspora that has been funding the war for a very long time got to that point where they realized that some of the guys they're talking to and they're dealing with are crooks and
Yeah,
they
crooks.
cannot
Yeah.
keep funding them. That is why these guys realize that, okay, right now I don't have a job, I don't have anything. And the diaspora is aware that I am a scammer. So I cannot get anything from the diaspora. The only way is for me to run to where I can even have food for the next day, which
Mm-hmm.
is a really, really bad decision. And if like the public thinks they can talk of dreaded fighters going to DDR, they can give us any proof that any of these guys that they have in their keeping ever fought against them. And they have
Mm-hmm.
evidence because they have evidence of everything that is going on in Amazonia. They are in the field, they know who is where, who is fighting where, what territory is hot and what territory is not hot. So they should
Mm-hmm.
be able to prove that this guy he did bring down 2 or 3 armored cars here, or he brought down 4 or 5 like public enemies. So anybody going to DDR is just going there for his own demise because you are not coming out. You might sit there and try to tell where your brothers are, your sisters are, but at the end of the day, you are a dead man. You cannot come out of that area.
Yeah. As you talk, Chairman Patrick, we see recently. I think this guy of I think Gokutunja. What's the name again? Where if he come out go, they take it go for fuel, and then they go for with the La Republic to come around military for go chase down his own brothers. I think no PTP deal with you. I think it get down at one hand and one leg. It there for Yaoundé now. I don't forget the name now. The name again. It did it now. So when they go for DDR center, Comrade Mark, when they go for DDR center, I don't mean say that they go rest. They still take them go out again for the same war front where they say they come out for it. Take them, go put them for front because when a big go, they send at them for front, say, now you know the place. Okay, you go ahead, show who's side in there. And when they go ahead, now then they take them down first. They take them down. This guy, he get down at one hand, one leg. I think I see some video some time ago waiting for hospital. He don't even talk. He grown in pain. So now the reality that, but the question where I want to ask, Comrade Mark, I would like me to comment on this. What it will be the eventuality for these people? Because I they ask because When you get some person where you say you want rehabilitative, what is rehabilitation? I mean, say one for strip down all that those elements will be there for that person where if you make it be violent. You give it some skills where that person feel now sustain himself, feel now cope out there by himself. Maybe you go send him learn a trade, maybe you go send him for school. But if you take these guys, just go dump them for there. We will see some where they just woke up, she done from morning till night, nothing doing, boring life. Whether they get their families, they know to take care of the families, they know to do anything, and then worst of all, they don't get the freedom. So if you really get some person where you get good intentions about that person, why not you know go training, say me be able for support itself. And if they need to begin for train this boys them, they need to send them for school. Waiting now, you think say they could do with them when this war it don't be over. Comrade Mark, if you take on that one.
Yes, I mean, as he was saying, I mean, the DGI Center is a modern prison
Mm-hmm.
during this war because you cannot imagine that you are still fighting a war and we are talking about rehabilitation. There
Mm-hmm.
is nowhere in this world where during the conflict you are rehabilitating soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Rehabilitation comes after war.
Yes.
So you cannot get your enemies and you say you are rehabilitating them. So if you are going to the GGR, you are a prisoner. You are a modern prisoner. But some of our fighters don't know. Worst of all, you are worse than a prisoner. The guys in Kudegi that were fighting for our freedom are better than you because
Mm-hmm.
they have been locked there against their will and they are not given secrets. But for you at the GGR, you have gone there by your will and you're giving secrets. So you are deflecting from us and it means you are now our enemy. So those guys there are not for rehabilitation. You can remember that during the time of Kawa Yannick, during their monologue in Yaoundé, Kawa Yannick went there. What has become of all of those who have been to the GGR? Nothing has become of any of them. All of them are worse than prisoners because they are still selling their brothers. So you cannot
Mm-hmm.
tell me that you are fighting against your brothers. You're fighting for your brothers and your parents, and after that, you go and sell the same people you are fighting for. So you are worse than them. So there's nothing like rehabilitation because anybody on his right mind should tell us any of our fighters have been rehabilitated. It has been 4 years now that they have been there, and none of them have been rehabilitated. They have been taken and carried to where our other soldiers are to sell their brothers, to show their hideouts. So instead, the GGR Center, instead of us saying that it's a rehabilitation center, it's a recruitment center for the
Mm-hmm.
sellouts of the struggle. So we
Yes.
don't need to call it a GGR again. We need to call it a modern recruitment center for the blacklegs and the sellout of the struggle. So there's nothing there like rehabilitation because rehabilitation is only after war. So the
Mm.
war is still going on. That's my own take on
Okay.
that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that elaboration. I think it's very clear. So we call it a recruitment center for traitors. Let's just put it that way. Because they are traitors. That's what they are. It's a recruitment center for traitors. The DDR center is a recruitment center for traitors. How do we call that? RCT. Huh? RCT, a recruitment center for traitors. So when we see someone going there, and the funny thing is that after betraying, one thing that is very sad with traitors is that when you betray your own people, say an Amazonian betrays his people to La Republique will never trust you. La Republique will never trust you because when they will say that if you can betray your own people, then how much more of us? So they will use you, but they will still keep you at a distance. They'll call you at arm's length because they don't trust you. You know that someone who can really look at his own people and betray them. That person cannot be, you cannot sleep with your eyes closed next to that kind of person. They understand that. So you are just in a la la land of your own. You will never be trusted by your people again. You will not never be trusted by the person to whom you betrayed your people. That is the truth. And when we're saying this, Chairman Patrick, do you really think that someone like Grandpa or Pinin or this guy who just went there, Rambo or somebody, do you really think that this guy will one day live to an all right age, retire with a comfortable lifestyle? Do you see any of these people having a decent lifestyle to old age? Is that possible, Chairman Patrick?
Chairman Mike, these guys don't even think that way because when this revolution is all over, we don't even have any clue how long this is going to last any longer because we know what is coming up in La Republic is going to give us the opportunity to move on. But if you are already in the DDR center, you will be abandoned there or you will be killed before they run away because La Republic will need every might to defend their territory because of what is going to happen in their area. So these guys who think they're in DDR, they have nowhere to go. You can't come back to Amazonia. Where are you going? Nobody's going to welcome you back in your camps. The guys down there already know you're an enemy, and La Republic knows that you're an enemy. So
Mhm.
when this moment comes, you will be by yourself, you will be killed, or you will not even have a place to hide, and it's going to be over for them. So
Mhm.
most of these guys who think they're in DDR, I feel bad for them. I feel sorry for them because we are going to create our own DDR for our own fighters after the war to get
Mhm.
them ready for future jobs. We're not taking
Yes.
them to keep them in camps and feed them on a daily basis so that they can become blacklegs. So,
And when
so
you talk about feeding, it's a poor quality food. Yeah, look, those boys have been protesting for quite some time now that their living conditions are horrible. It's not like they're eating good food there. They're not very good. They're not well
well,
taken care of.
that is even true because even the military that is on the ground fighting for these old animals there in Yaoundé, what do? They don't even have food. When you
Yeah.
see them go around and burn houses in Amazonia, if anybody doesn't know, they are not burning those houses for any reason other than they go in there, get everything out of the house, and act like they are burning the houses. So they steal everything. They burn. They say they are burning a store. They make sure they loot that store of everything that's in there, and then they
Mhm.
put fire on it. Act like
And,
they are
and, and
burning it
and sometimes,
because they need
sometimes,
food.
sometimes we saw recently in Womb where they stole pigs and they slaughter them and ate them, cook it in very rudimentary pots. I mean, those guys are, if their soldiers can live such miserable life, then imagine those at the DDR center. It is terrible. Well, let me say hello to the following comrades who are greeting here. I see Hans Bobo. Hello, sir. Mike Nkeng, I'm greeting you. Uh, Nkwende Henry, Rose Bush. Uh, who is this again? Siloswa. I say hello to all of you who are watching. Please leave a comment. Leave a comment. Let me know you're watching, and let's know what you're thinking about the show and about the struggle. Let us move on to the next topic, my dear panel. We have seen, uh, of course, La Rubrique when Paul Biya, when he was still able to talk, of course. Said that he was going to crush us in 2 weeks. And it is now almost 7 years, and we are standing strong. And La République du Cameroon soldiers continue to fall in Amazonia. La République du Cameroon soldiers continue to fall every day. They continue to be blown to pieces every day. They continue to meet their Waterloo in Amazonia every day. And we are marching on to victory. If we have resisted this far, nothing is going to stop us. Let me tell you this, fellow Amazonians. Our objective is not to As much as we are bringing them down, our objective is not to completely defeat them and go into their territory. We have no interest going into their territory to take over because we are not interested in cohabiting with them anymore. We just want them to get out of our land. And what is going to give us victory is not even the military victories that we are having, which are good, we appreciate it. But what is going to give us victory is our tenacity, our ability to resist. That is how South Africa succeeded, by proving to the oppressor that it does not matter. You can take 100 years. We are here and we are determined to be free. When you have demonstrated to the oppressor that nothing is going to cause you to surrender, they will have to succumb. They will have to surrender themselves. Because the cost of this war is causing untold misery in La Republique du Cameroon. We saw recently a certain video of the market in Yaoundé itself. You cannot believe that that is the capital of a whole country. There was water everywhere, there was filth everywhere, and people were sitting in the water and selling food that they eat. Someone told me that even just running water, they have shortages of water, electricity shortages, nothing is working in La Republique. That is it. That is it. Those are the images. That is in Yaoundé, fellow Amazonians. That is Yaoundé. And these are the people who want us to stay with them. So when you see things like this, and La Republique keeps saying, oh, we are going to crush them, what comes to your mind, Chairman Patrick? What comes to your mind? Are they serious?
Well, Comrade Mike, it's so shameful, it's so disgusting because if you look at the caliber of leaders, look at the Speaker of the National Assembly, look at the President of the country, look at the Chairman of the Senate, then you will know what kind of country we're talking about. These guys have zero vision. They don't even think there's any tomorrow. I don't think any of them even know there's a market in that town like that. But the average population, the guys who are on the streets fighting that they are fighting for their country, are the ones dying. These guys live in air-conditioned offices and they don't care about what is going on down there. But one thing that so many people have not even seen is that La Republique, if you see the number of fighters fighting for that Amazonians are eliminating in our territory, we see very minimum number going back to La Republique. And the reason is that what La Republique did is they arrested so many of these Boko Haram guys, brought them and put them into their military. So those are the people that when they are eliminated in Amazonia, you don't see them
Mhm.
anywhere. They throw them somewhere. Sometimes they even abandon the corpse in the mortuaries. And sometimes they just have mass graves and put them there. So La Republique, they have zero care about these young people. The only few that you see are the ones that have some relationship with some big guns in Yaoundé who they will say, oh, let's take the corpse back to their village and all that. That's why you
Mhm.
see some of them. But at the end of the day, La Republique does not care about the future of any of their leaders, doesn't care about the future of that country. They don't even think there is any tomorrow for the country. And which is true, there is no tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, most of these ministers have their passports ready. They have their exit route ready because they know this is a failed state and it's about to collapse soon.
Yeah, and you are very right. They don't care about the plight of these boys. And I look at some of these boys and I feel sorry for them. Because imagine getting into what is so-called Amoka and coming into Amazonia. And you are riding in Amazonia knowing that at any time you could be blown to pieces. And you are sitting in that armor car not knowing when it's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to happen. You saw the image of what happened in Boyo recently. You saw what happened in Womb recently. You saw what happened somewhere in on Bayview Road in Bamenda recently, where that so-called armor car was completely destroyed, was twisted. Nobody came out of it. I mean, and you see, you are a lot of people to come around military, and you see that this is what has happened to my colleague, and then you have the courage again to still get in another armor car to come into Ambazonia. I mean, there must be some emotional trauma that they are going through. Comrade Mark, what do you think goes through the minds of these boys who keep coming to Ambazonia and getting killed?
Yes, I mean, there's one word I want to use. The word is normalcy. That word normalcy has been used for decades in La
Mhm,
République du Cameroon. The normalcy in La République du Cameroon has made their citizens to think that things are normal.
mhm,
It has made them not to be able to visualize their existence and their standard of living. And they were trying to creep that their normalcy into us. But God forbid, since we had our own system of doing our own things, we do not want to emulate them and we do not want to follow their normalcy. So if you see them, look at their markets, you look at how they behave, you look at how they carry out their activities, their civil service, their military, everything is normal to them. So they have it's a mental game. They have used this their mental might in instilling into their citizens that it is very normal for things to be like that. And that
mhm,
is what has happened with some of us. Their mental games and their mental normalcy has crept into some of us, and some of us are now thinking like them. Some of us are even thinking that there is no need for us to fight. Some of us are thinking that we should even surrender and give everything to them so that they should control us because we don't want to fight anymore. So if you look at their forces, back to your question, if you look at their forces, they think that is normal. And they have now created a different way of life in La Republique. They have made their citizens to know that the war is against them. We are trying to work against their state. And they have already made their citizens to know that they own us. So it is very normal for them to recruit and bring their guys to come and die. Even these guys that are being recruited, most of them don't know that some of them died before. They're even hiding the numbers of their armed forces that have fallen in the war. If you look at this war, many of them have fallen. Like they are falling more than how many thousand, more than our boys, but they can't tell the truth to their population that they are falling. So they are trying to make it to be normal. That is why they keep telling us that the war has ended, so that we should have it in our mind that it's normal. It's a mental game. And if we fall for that, we are going to fight this for a very long time because now our own Ambazonia citizens are thinking that everything is going back to normal, back to their normalcy. That is why our brains are weak and we are relaxing and thinking that we are losing the war, which is not the case.
Yeah,
So the
you
main
know, when you
ingredient is
talk about
normalcy.
normalcy, I think about the state of mind of the La République Cameroon military. This is supposed to be a senior commander, gendarme commander who was just killed in, I think, in Bamenda. So you look at these people who continue to fall every day. And I've said it before, and I say it again, that the military of La République du Cameroon is the most irresponsible on the African continent because you have seen other militaries somewhere else in situations like this where they see their own lives, their colleagues being blown to pieces every day, and they see someone who is completely mentally brain dead, probably a brain dead president, and yet there is nobody in that military who can say, no, this must change. This must change. We have to rise up and make sure things are done right. It is a military that comes in, intervenes to correct when politicians are messing up. They correct things and then before giving back to the civilians. But in La Republic, it's as if those who are recruited into the military Their brains are first of all taken out before they are recruited. They don't think. They have no sense. No, they behave like robots. Yeah, they behave like robots. They have no brains. Their commanders, their generals, they have no sense of responsibility to say, but what we are seeing here, this country is sliding down into the abyss.
Yeah,
Maybe
come
we should
in.
do something. Nothing like that is happening. Nothing is happening. The people are just like they've been hypnotized. They're moving
One
around
moment.
like zombies.
I want to do first
They're
lesson.
moving around like zombies.
All right,
What do you
thank
think,
you.
Chairman? What really? What kind of military is this? Your audio. Try again. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good now.
All right. So if you look at the ages of some of these guys that are dying in Amazonia, you can tell that most of them, one, they are like these street guys who never went to school and have zero education. They don't even know there was any part of, there is something called northwest of Cameroon or southwest. They just recruit them. They tell them, oh, there's a recruitment. They jump into the fray. They say, oh, you are being posted to this part of the country. They have no clue that they're going there for a war until they get to the ground. If you remember, like in 2019, they used to put them in trucks. When they get to Nchang or going to Mbunda, that's when they tell them they're going to Bamenda. They had no clue where they were going because the Republic understand it's all about the mind game. They are
Mm-hmm.
taking poor, wretched guys whose parents don't even know anything about what is going on in that part of the world. And these guys are looking for a livelihood. They take them down there. Some of them die, and the La Republic keep telling families, "Oh, they are in the northwest. There's no network down there." I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example of one thing that happened maybe 2 years ago. There is a big military base in Kongsamba. The wives have been asking where their husbands are, and La Republic kept telling them for 2 years that your husbands are in northwest or part of Amazonia where there's no network. These women, they came out to protest. La Republique arrested all these women. Nobody's ever heard about it. It's just a few people who were in the Kongsamba area that knows that this happened. So
Mm-hmm.
the Kraida has not even started in La Republique because most of these people that their relatives have all perished in Amazonia, they have no clue. They think they're people. Sometimes La Republique will even turn around and send little things that, oh, your brother did send you 10,000. But they sit there and think their brother is still alive. They know how to play the game. But unfortunately, the country is going to crumble. These guys will understand that they were fighting for nothing. Because when the moment comes, they,
Let us
they
look at something here. Let us look at something here. Um, Even when you have your child, when your child gets to up to age of 18 years old, if you used to whip that child, you cannot more hold that child and whip, especially a boy, right? Even a girl. At some point, you have to know how to talk to your child when they get up to that age. Now, uh, when this thing started, instead of La Republic coming to the table and finding out that, okay, but why are you protesting when we came out in 2018 with the peace plans, branches to protest? That is the time that this thing should have been put to rest very easily, very with little cost. Just sit down and show that you have the concern, that you are willing to listen. But if you refuse to listen, and they came out and they mowed us down, they killed so many people, shot some in the legs, put, picked up some, threw them in jail. Some just disappeared. We've never seen them. And not only that, they continued after that to go into houses, pick up young boys, just molest them, shoot them, and they created a situation of insecurity where our young men now found themselves needing their own self defense. And that's how this war started. To this day, what I'm saying this is, why is La Republic so scared of sitting at the table with Ambazonian to find out what our grievances are? I'm saying so knowing that we have gone beyond that level of finding out what the grievances are. We have gone beyond that point. We are no more interested. Why couldn't they take the initiative of just sitting down and genuinely listening to us to find out what the concern was? Uh, uh, Comrade Mark, why is La Republic so scared of meeting us at the table?
Yeah, there are two reasons why they are scared to meet us on the table. One is because they are living a lie. They know
Okay.
the truth, and they know that if they meet us on the table, we are going to present the facts, and then
Mhm.
from there, it's going to lead into a referendum, separation, and all the like. Oh, they are going
Mhm.
to get, we're going to have our autonomy. So that's the first reason. So since they know that, and they have been a leash, they are benefiting from us, and they want to continue to benefit from us. They had their plan a long time ago to assimilate us, and the plan is going on well. So they knew that. So they are living a lie. So they cannot come to the table because they know they are living the lie, and the lies will
Mhm.
be unraveled. Look at their 20 minutes that just passed. Is everything
Yes.
has been on a lie. So the foundation has been on the lie. Secondly, they have this false sense. If you think that they don't think that they can win, critically, some of them still think they can win. They have this false sense of that they think they can win the war.
Mhm.
They really do. They think they can win the war. They think they can be successful. That's why they are using what we call now delay tactics. All what they are
Mhm.
doing is what we call delay tactics. Remember in 2017, when our boys started with machetes, they were laughing that we don't have weapons. But in 2019, when we had all our good weapons and we started fighting them, resisting their attacks, they said we are going to be tired. And that is the
Mhm.
same strategy they are using now. If you look at
Mhm.
all what they have been doing and propagating against our fighters, against us, using some of us to propagate against us, using some of us in the diaspora, and going
Mhm.
into all of our groups, creating fake profiles, Facebooks everywhere,
Mhm.
making fake profiles. They have centers in Yaoundé where if there's a Facebook, where if there's a Facebook channel, they go there, they create like 20, 30, 50. One person will create like 50 names. And now they will be attacking fellow Amazonians. And some of us are so naive to follow that. So the second reason is that they think that they can play with time and everything will die down. And that is the
Mhm.
second reason, the second method they are trying to execute. So they have a strategy. Those two strategies are what they are trying to do.
And I think you are on something there because when you look at, I think they are counting on the experience they had with the Bamilekes, the Makizas of those days,
Marquisas, yeah.
that they were able to crush them, and everything since then. You see, the Bamilekes are very, very, very ambivalent about getting into anything violent. This time with La Republic Cameroon because, and they are counting that they can apply the same principles with others, but they fail to realize that the situation at that time as compared to what is going on now is completely different. The difference, the main difference is that today we have social media. Secondly, Ambazonians have a very strong diaspora. The Maquisards did not have that. The means of communication was not there. So they were boxed in, and that's why they gave up. And when we talk about the Maquisards in those days, was it Wandi who surrendered? Like these guys at DDR Center, we are telling them that when you surrender, when you surrender to La République du Cameroun, they don't forgive and they don't forget. Their promise to you does not mean a damn thing. How many times have they given us promises and how many times have they kept them? From federation to United Republic to decentralization, none of that has happened. To deep sea port, to ring road, can I go on naming them? These guys don't keep their word. So whatever they are telling these guys in the DDR center doesn't hold any water. There's nobody there to
And
back them up. They will be all be killed when this war is over. That is it. They will be killed. So what that I'm just agree with you that what you have said there is true. They know they don't have a case, and they think that they can buy time and succeed. But we're telling them that they've picked the wrong choice this time. It's not going to work. I
yeah,
see what you're saying.
and going back to history, if you see what they did to the Maquisards, they killed them, cut their heads, and hung them on the streets,
Mhm.
and then they escaped into our territory. So if you look at what they were doing to our generals before, when they kill a general, they'll take the general to a street or a very popular like, roundabout, as we call it, and lay the corpse there, so that our fighters should see that it is bad and run away. So that is the same
Mhm.
strategy they were
Yes.
using. But they
Yes.
did not know that they are fighting a different type of war. So they are
Mhm.
mistaken because we are in for the long run. And I'm
Yes.
advising every Ambazonian to come and join us to be tactful and fight this thing to the end, because we are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere.
We are not. We have put
Comrade
in too
Mike.
much. Yeah, Chairman Patrick, you can come in here.
Yes, one thing that the Republic did not know is that when this war started, they felt like it was like in 2008 when they crushed the uprising against the extension of their emperor's life as president.
Yes.
They
Yes.
they started doing this, and then we started this war, they were coming out. When they killed a general, they try to put it out there and say, "Oh, we've killed it so that they can chase our guys away." Little
Mhm.
did they know they were building evidence against themselves to the International Criminal Court, because that is human rights abuse. You don't kill people and you are hanging them on the street. So some of these deals and governors who were presiding over the killing of people, one day they will be answering those questions. That is why I look at some of these guys who go through Enam as the most dumbest human souls ever born, because one thing they have learned in Enam, they think they are gods. They are like, they call themselves, they are the state. So they think when whatever decision they make, this government will stand with them. But unfortunately, the international community, all the powers that be, they look at these things and they document them. When they were parading these cops, some of them did not know it will come back one day and bite them. And talking about like the Republic even coming down to a negotiating table, this is a country that doesn't have any plan. They live by what comes out that day. If
Mhm.
Cameroon had a plan, they would have been thinking, okay, we have a revolution in our hand. What is our first plan, second alternative, and what can we do? During these 7 years of fighting, there have been two uprisings in France, and France has been able to get them under control just because they sit and talk with the people.
Of course.
So La
Of course.
Republic should not think they are different, that they can fight their own people and win. And unfortunately, they are fighting a determining force. They did a 20th May thinking, oh, the 20th May was going to show that we are getting everything under control. But the beginning
And
of
Chairman Patrick,
June,
Chairman Patrick, there's one thing I want, one point I want to make here before I forget. You see, the La Republic continues to say that, oh, we are one country, we are one country. But the question is this: if we are one country, how can the leader of a country declare war on another part of its own country? Is that possible? Because you only declare war on a foreign country by when Bobia decided to declare war on Ambazonia, it was an acknowledgement that we are not the same people, that we are a separate country, and that is why he felt comfortable to declare war on us. So this nonsense that we are the same people. When he declared war on us, what did the rest of the country do? Was there any uprising? As to us, even when they saw the gruesome images of our people being mauled down, handicapped, shot to death in their wheelchairs, children as young as 4 months old, their heads blown to pieces, children going to school, shot in the head by their evil police and gendarmes. Not a single person raised a voice in that country. How can they say we are the same people? We are not the same people. They don't like us. They hate us. They want to see us disappear. That is the truth. And we have made up our minds that no matter what it takes, we will be free. And that is it. We are here in the diaspora. We are going to fund this world to kingdom come. But at the end of the day, Ambassador will be free. Let Larry get this message. We will fund this world to kingdom come, and we are training our kids. If we are not there, they will take over from us, and they will continue to pump money. As long as there's money, they will be fighters. They should understand that.
Comrade Mike, just to add a little bit here, one thing
Yes.
that their president said in 2019 when he was at the conference with Mo Ibrahim, he said we tried to assimilate them, and it failed. Who were they trying to assimilate? If we were one and indivisible country, why are they?
Why do
Why
you
will
need to
you be trying
assimilate
to
again?
assimilate part of your own country?
You
So
cannot,
they,
you cannot
they were
assimilate,
just giving
you
a
cannot
clear
assimilate
evidence
part
that
of you.
these are two different
You can only
countries
assimilate
that they
somebody
will
who
be
is not
looking
part
at.
of you. And
Yeah.
these statements, sometimes we don't take enough time to analyze the meaning, the real meanings of these statements. Like you have really pointed out, how can you say you are trying to assimilate part of your own country? If we were part of their country, they would not be struggling to assimilate us, which is very true. It's very true. So, we will continue to shine a light on this thing. We will continue to shine a light on it. This fallacy, this nonsense that we are one country is a myth. It is a myth. One and indivisible is a myth. People should understand that it does not exist. It doesn't exist. Now, let us move on to our next topic. We have seen a lot of. You wanted to say something first, Mark? Let's just move on to the next topic. We have seen a lot of videos and audios, messages uh, between the ADF and Capo Daniel. Something is happening there. He's making statements about his former boss and saying that he is now the new sheriff in town. He has taken over that Ayabacho is wanted in the United States as well as in Canada. He cannot more perform, so he Capona is now the new sheriff in town. And there has been this back and forth with messages, insults, and you name it. And some of the messages they are sending we cannot even repeat on TV. So I don't know. Maybe I should tell you, Comrade Mark, what is your reading of what is happening with the ADF? Is it a snake bite snake or dog bite dog? What is going on there?
Yes, man, it's rather unfortunate that a group that has foot soldiers and have weapons is not contributing towards the struggle. It's rather
Mm,
unfortunate. Insofar as we look at what is going on between them and we laugh, it's very bad for us for things unraveling like that, because the AGF was supposed to be a brother or a sister force to help us
mhm,
in this struggle. So
mhm,
for me, I look at it as they are one and the same person. Ayabacho Lucas and the Capo Daniel, Ashu Lucas, all of them. Tapan Ivo, they are one and the same person. And any
mhm,
Ambazonia who is having this struggle at heart should be able to identify that by now. All what Capo Daniel is saying, or the counter reaction from Ashu Lucas, or even the statements from Ayaba that he's no longer a dictator and all the like. You were supposed to have seen that by now. So this, for me, we should use this as a learning lesson.
Just before you continue there, remark, when someone has to come out and say, I'm not a dictator, there's a problem there. When you have to come and when you have to come out and say, I'm really not a dictator. If you think I'm a dictator, that means you are a dictator. That statement does not add up. Continue.
Yes, I wanted to say, all of us, even though we look at it and we laugh, we should use this as a learning lesson. Those people who were still supporting the ADF and fighting should know that the ADF is not for us, because we have been saying this time immemorial. Where are they fighting? So it is not about being right or wrong, because some of us take it as that we're right or we're wrong. We just want to have to use this as a lesson for those who still thought that the AGF was fighting for us, have seen all what has been going on with them, and have known that they were not fighting. So we should come back home and try to support the struggle, go to our AGS, go to the union government and support us, because we should not keep repeating the same mistake over and over again, because we already know who they are. We already know that they are not fighting anywhere. We know that Capo Daniel and Ayabacho Lucas are one and the same person. We know that
Yes.
Ashu Lucas are they are the same people, and they have been doing this time and time in, time out. They are talking about the money that they have been contributing. They are talking about so many other things. They are talking about negotiations,
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
Canada. What are we talking against? So we should use this as a learning lesson.
Comrade, let me say this. At a point, that is one thing that most of the times we fail to do in this struggle. We're to do a post, that is a self-evaluation,
Mhm.
to see where we have gone wrong so we can correct our steps going forward. This is a time when, if there are some rational minds within the ADF, this is a time for them to sit down and ask themselves, how did we get here? Why are we experiencing this at this time? And see where they went wrong and maybe make some corrective steps so to improve their reputation going forward, because their reputation is not good, not here in the diaspora, not amongst our people on ground zero, because they have been molesting and extorting from our people. So they ought to take a moment to ask themselves, what happened? Why do we have such a terrible reputation? These are prisoners in an ADF camp in Momo, held by the ADF, demanding money, ransoms from them. Look at these people. Do they look like people who have lots of money to pay out? And who was managing this evil enterprise? Capo Daniel. And he is now spilling the beans. Let me just play an audio here. One audio. I'll play about maybe 2 or 3 audios from Capo Daniel. Let's just listen to this one.
We will lose. We will lose. If we keep on getting flattered by Bacho Lucas and the AGOVC. Pardon my English and my way of speaking. I have a speech handicap anyway. If we continue to be impressed by the Ayabacho Lucas and the AGOVC Hollywood movies going on in Ground Zero, being impressed by people doing all this small drama, then we are done. We don't care about our people.
Okay, that is the first audio that Capo sent out, and he's lambasting Ayabacho, and he has sent out a lot of audios. We cannot play all of them. Oh, okay, I have another one which I'll play later. But Chairman Patrick, maybe you wanted to say something here first. This thing, this is your county, Momo County, where the criminality of the ADF, especially under this guy called Efang, where he specializes in arresting or kidnapping people for ransom, arresting other fellow ARFs, locking them up, seizing their material, molesting them, and killing some of them. What do you have to say
Yeah,
about the ADF,
Chair,
of the ADF in your area?
Chairman Mike, One thing that, even though people say the ADF has been uh, hosted by the Momo County, it's very clear that they are in Momo, yes, but they have chosen a particular section of Momo, which is Mogamo, and that is where they
Uh-huh.
operate. And as I said before, we, the Momo County, we came together at one point. We wanted to make sure we clear ADF from that area. But the
Mhm.
Mogamo County chose a different route. The leadership of Mogamo at that time were playing games, but they have put their roots in that area. But one thing that Comrade Mark said here, that which is very important, at the end of the day, we are fighting the Ambazonia Revolution. What is happening within the ADF was not is not like anything that people did not expect. We knew
Mhm.
that criminal gang was going to crumble, and they have all gotten to that point where they cannot move on. I mean, part of eventually we're going to know more about some of their activities, but the
Mhm.
advice that we can give is to the boys on the ground. These guys in the diaspora who are playing games with your lives can remain in the diaspora. But you all are down there, you have to make that right decision, join the right fighting force, and move on, other than sitting there taking orders from a criminal who doesn't have a job, living off of what you people are making, that you can support yourself and even have enough granules for yourself. This thing that Efang is doing right there is just because Efang is not a smart guy. Efang, look, you know that you have the opportunity to make a big difference in this revolution. But if you sit there and keep trying to say somebody's giving you orders to kidnap people, molest your own people, your own brothers, even if we win this revolution today, how can you even move freely in your
Mhm.
own home when you
Yeah.
know these are the same people that you molested months or years back? So you should be smart. This fighter should be smart to know that you have to stay away from these guys who are giving you the wrong advice on what a revolutionary prosecution can take, it should take. So
Yeah,
again,
and you're on something there, Chairman Patrick, because when you look at Efang at this point, I think Efang should be scared of his own shadow because he has hurt so many people. He has hurt his own very fellow ARFs. I think recently the squad from Pinyin had to raid one of his camps to save one of their commanders who was being detained. Now, how can Efang now travel through Pinyin safely? How can he travel through Pinyin when the people you victimize are out there? Can he even go through Valley? He's now boxed in. He is boxed in. You cannot make enemies all around you. People have strength when they create partners instead. When you create partners, it makes you stronger. You don't create enemies all around you and then you stay there and think you are safe. It's just a matter of time. If he does not change, like you have said, and it is very unfortunate. Now, we heard a certain, I don't know if it's an audio or a video from Capo Daniel, now declaring himself in charge. I don't know what title he gave himself, and that he is now single-handedly, Capo Daniel says he's single-handedly suspending the ban on Brazilian products. Can you imagine that? Capo Daniel now wants to suspend the ban on Brazilian products. Crazy idea. Crazy idea. I don't know what this guy is smoking. What message do you have for Capo Daniel? Come remark. What message do you have for Capo Daniel with this? I don't know. I don't know what kind of drug he is taking that makes him think he can say this.
Well, man, there's no message I have for a compromised person. He cannot be
Mhm.
compromised by La Republique, but he's mentally compromised insofar as the struggle is concerned. Because a mentally compromised person in this struggle with an ego can never take to any advice. So no matter what you tell him, you are wasting your time.
Yeah.
So it's just yes, he's just a mad compromise man. So there's nothing I can tell him. But my message goes to the people who are behind and listening to that is nonsense and applauding him. That is the problem we have in this struggle, because we have people behind clapping, listening to the nonsense, and they think that they are all and all, they are omnipotent, all powerful. If these guys or this group of power mongers, when they come up and say these are things or do this, they are mad.
Comrade Mark, talking about omnipotence, what can Capodena do? What power has he got to enforce what he's saying?
Well, you are underestimating Capo Daniel.
Okay.
Was a right-hand man to Ayabacho Lucas. If you don't know that, you are underestimating him. That is why when they are talking to Capo, they are talking with caution. Capo knows the in and out of Ayabacho Lucas. He knows the in and out of how the AGF was running. He knows the in and out of all their policies, how they have been persecuting people back home, and how they are not fighting anywhere. He knows everything. So we are underestimating Capo Daniel. That is why
for that we know that, first of all, he was the one managing all the operations on the ground. He was
mastermind.
All the kidnapping money was coming through Capo. We know that. All the ransoms were coming through Capo because Ayabacho wanted to have his hands clean of all those crimes. So Capo was the one doing all the dirty work. So he knows everything. You are very right. But what I am saying is, what influence has he on the rest of the responsible ARFs on the ground who are doing the right thing? Can he control them and make them not to respect whatever he's trying to say? He cannot do that, right? Only with a few.
Yes. First of all, Capo Daniel had no influence on genuine fighters. He had influence on the ADF fighters who were never fighting for the struggle for the past, whether it's the past 4 years since General Ivor died. I've never heard that AGF really fought a genuine fight anywhere. So he never had any influence on the real fighter. He had influence on the fighters in his organization, which was the AGOVC, that was specialized in levying taxes on our suffering people, kidnapping, and doing all other things. That is where Capo Daniel had the influence. He had no influence on our genuine fighters. But now that he has left their group, he still has some influence on those of his fighters. But I wanted Capo Daniel to leave Ayabacho Lucas and force some fighters to really fight the real fight for the struggle. Instead of doing that, he left his organization trying to do otherwise, trying to control the power and continue what they were doing, trying to come out with propaganda.
Comrade Mark, I would challenge you there. How can Capo Daniel fight a genuine fight when he's asking for one of the pillars of our struggle, being the ban on this contraband that empowers a lot of people to come around to have money to sponsor this work? Brazzers gives a lot of people to come around a lot of money, and he is now on record saying that this should be suspended. So how then can he turn around and fight for the same fight when he is giving La Republic or trying to give La Republic something that they badly need? They have been wanting this for a long time. How do we know if Capo has not been paid by La Republic to come around already to do this?
Well, I was making that statement. No, you can
Chairman Mike. If you listen to what Capo Daniel is saying, I will tell you psychologically from the meeting in Canada, Capo has some kind of influence from La Republique on what should and how the Ambazonia revolution should be
You are
prosecuted
on
going
something there.
forward.
You are on something there.
And
Yep.
they gave him some ideas. They set him up to bring down the ADF and try to see how he can get some of the fighters behind him. I would tell you there was a scenario where I think it was maybe October of last year when Capo and Ayaba. I would tell you maybe Ayaba was not very aware of what happened. Capo did set up a team of fighters that they were going to assemble in Batibo so that they can put a formidable force to start fighting from one end. And the goal was to take a section of La Republique or a section of Amazonia as one fighting force. But that was a plan that they wanted to gather all these fighters and eliminate as many as possible so that they can weaken the forces. That is why when they got them in a house in Batibo, in Mogamo, they made sure everyone was out of the house. And La Republic got there and killed as many as, I think there were like 11 guys that were killed in that house.
Yes, I remember. I
So
remember that
if,
incident.
so
I
if you
remember that
can see
incident.
what Capo is doing, Capo is frustrated because some of his plans are not working. But the
Yes.
only way Capo can do is come out there and spill the beans on so many of what has been going on. We know Ayaba is a criminal. We know that. Ayaba Cho, look, this guy has caused this revolution to be, maybe he has slowed down this revolution in so many different ways.
A
If
lot.
he
A
was
lot.
even part of this, of part of Ayok Tabe, maybe things would have been different even if Sako had taken over and we're working together. But he has made sure he stays on the side and be a spoiler if he's not the leader. But unfortunately, young man, you need to go get you a job because you cannot even fly anywhere for any negotiation based on what the international community has seen you doing on the ground. There is one thing that you don't know, Ayaba Lucas. When countries put their diplomatic missions in any country, they watch and see what goes on there. They have people on the ground that see who is doing what is happening, and they know you very well. Your days are numbered. You cannot be
No,
doing
no,
this
no.
to the people of
The
Amazonia.
international
And
community has eyes on Ayabacho. All he needs to do is make one wrong turn, when they pick him up, that's it. That's it. When
that
they
is
pick him
true.
up, they have eyes on him, and he knows. He knows. So this thing, that's why you see that all he is just trying to do now is to make as much money for himself as possible. He's not interested in this struggle because he's an obstacle. Every time we try to come together, he brings about a problem that will cause people to splinter. He's not for this struggle. It's either him or nothing. So it's him and Sako. They are best pals now. Let me play an audio here of of Capo Daniel, and I think King Charles will be very angry with what Capo is doing with this language. Just listen here.
Put me in a position where I have to assume that responsibility to speak on behalf of our people and use my influence, to use my power, and to help push our agenda for our country. So I will speak from that point of power of playing this role in our liberation struggle. And I urge every Amazonian of goodwill to align themselves behind me. I am credible. I'm national. I'm nationalist. I'm patriotic, and I will speak for you. I will defend your cause, and I will carry our struggle through. I need your support, and I need everybody's support so that together we can see how we can move forward. We need the support of every Amazonian, not just the soldiers or organizations or group or activists, but we need it. We will never have a complete consensus amongst us to be united as one, but we should be able to unite as one with logic and the purpose of why we are fighting this our struggle. So I'll be making that decisions, and I'll be putting that decisions publicly, and I want our people to have this information as well, to know the rationale and to know to what capacity I'm putting those information. I've declared myself as the new leader of Ambazonia, replacing Dr. Chuayaba as the leader of our war of liberation. For people who don't understand what to be the meaning of the leader of our war of liberation, that those tied away it be as a default of the way the player. That means a person where it influence most of the activity on the ground and in the diplomatic realm in the higher.
So, Chairman Patrick and Comrade Mark, that is Mr. Capo Daniel. He is now declaring himself the new leader. He's telling everybody to align behind him, I don't want to go. I don't want to go into the grammar that the guy is pouring out there, but I think my one advice before we go into discussing the details here to Capo is this: if he really is serious about being a leader, he should go to school again, maybe for 7 years. He should go back to school for about 7 years, study, and then come back and we can evaluate. Imagine if we were to send you out to go and represent Ambazonia and you go out and speak like you're speaking here. Come on now, man. It is not funny at all. It is not funny. So Capo needs to go back to school. Send him this program. Let him watch. He needs to go back to school for about 7 years. When you graduate, come and Ambazonians will evaluate you and see if you've made any improvements, and then maybe we'll consider you for leadership. At this point in time, you are as raw as they get. You are not ready. You're not ready for prime time. Comrade Mark, what do you have to say about Mr. Capo declaring himself the new leader?
I always like to use situations like a learning example. If you look at what has been going on, we should know that all these imposters who call themselves leaders, who form petty groups, who don't want to follow the rule of law, trying to be leaders, are very dangerous to our struggle. Can you imagine this guy going to represent us at a peace talk? This guy was in Canada. He was in Canada for our struggle. And he was representing an organization that was supposed to be a partner in this war. This guy was in Canada. And he's not straightforward. If you look at him critically, he is working with the ATF and working for somebody. Because from what he has been saying, there's something going on behind. He's working for the ATF and also a spy with La République. So, La République, he's trying to get contacts for himself, the future. And the ATF leadership is also trying that he should get the contacts to give him directly the Ayabacho Lucas. So it's a conflict of interest. So what we are intent saying is that whenever there's something like negotiations or there's something like genuine leadership, these one or two little groups that call themselves groups and impose themselves as leaders should not lead our struggle. Like you have the Mariantas, you have the John Bar Akoros. We call them leaders all the time, but people still force that they are leaders. People still say they should go represent us. These are the type of things that are bringing trouble into this struggle. So we should be very careful. This should act as a learning opportunity for us to know that either we come under an umbrella on a key organization and send people who are very knowledgeable to represent us, or we are going to keep repeating the same mistakes.
About that, when Chairman Patrick, when we look at what the ADF is doing here, this is not new. This is not new. Taking very reckless decisions when it comes to this struggle. This is not the first time. Imagine this is the caliber of person that was sent to go and represent us in Canada. Listen to this guy as he speaks. Is this the kind of person who will go and represent Ambazonia at the international level? And then when you look at the so-called alliance that the ADF had with IPOC, Nnamdi Kanu, look at the consequences, the damaging consequences that it had on our ability to resource materials from Nigeria. Time and time again, these people look at Yabacho's decision to go to London single-handedly to sell oil. I mean, these guys are so careless. They don't care about the ramifications of their actions on the struggle. It is just about them. Look at the decision they made about Regina Mundi. To this day, we don't know what happened. So, time and time and time again, they have demonstrated that they are not, their intentions are not for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons and Bazonia. It is about what they can get out of it. And let me remind you that one of the statements that Capo Daniel made was that when they were in Canada and there were La République Cameroon representatives out there, that Ayabacho told him to tell those people to come and meet him behind. That was one of the very outrageous statements that came out of his statement, that Ayabacho told him to come, that to tell those La Republic agents there to come and meet him behind. Leave the other leaders, come and meet him, Ayabacho, behind, and let them have a tete-a-tete behind the scenes before going back to the. What do you think Ayabacho wanted to talk about behind the scenes with La Republic? I think your guess is as good as mine. And that is the problem we have. Your audio, Chairman Patrick.
Your audio.
Okay, try again. Let me see. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. So one thing I'm going to say here about this stuff with ADF and Capo Daniel going to Canada, sometimes when you are talking to some friends who are from different countries, and you tell them that when we were with La Republique, we had a president who's been there for 40 years. The first question they'll ask you is there no other person in that country that can rule, or why would they keep somebody there for 40 years? That is the same question I'll ask the ADF. If they really think they are a force to reckon with in Amazonia, and they have the opportunity to talk to La Republique, you take somebody like Capo, who will not be able to even make a single statement, make sense out of a single word that is going to come out of La Republique, then it means the ADF doesn't have a core of what they are even talking about. They have no clue. You cannot have an opportunity to talk to your enemy. You take the dumbest people in your group and send them to go sit there and try to have conversation. So you can now tell Ayabacho, he himself knows. Like sometimes we talk about their educational background. Sometimes we really appreciate what education is all about, because people can analyze stuff from discussing critically with some really using some facts. But if Capo Daniel sit there in Canada and saying the kind of thing he's saying, who would ever take you serious that you are coming to negotiate for a country? So it's unfortunate that some people just think if I can talk to the boys on the ground, I'm a leader and I have influence over people and I can do this or that. But the reality here is the ADF has caused us a lot, and they keep causing us so much. Even when you talk about the alliance with the guy in Nigeria,
Nnamdi Kanu.
if you are smart enough, you should think that Nigeria will be thinking, oh, if this guy can give you something to fight and you win that country, then you will be a staging ground for this
them.
guy to fight Nigeria too. So Nigeria will make sure this doesn't work. And Ayaba and the guys that are supporting him don't even think about it that way.
They don't care. They don't care.
Somebody said he's talking about him not being a dictator. First of all, he doesn't even have any clue of what he's talking about. If you are a dictator, how do you even know you're a dictator? Most Biat will tell you every day that he's loved by the people. He's never going to tell you he's a dictator. So Ayabacho, I feel bad for this guy, because he needs to get up and apologize to the Amazonian people and join his LGO county if he wants to think he want to prosecute this revolution. But if you sit there thinking one day you will be a leader of Amazonia, some of us will be dead before that happens.
Sometimes people make statements and they are actually affirming who they are. You remember when Capo made a statement himself that he's a patriot, and one other time he said he's the anti-czar of kidnapping. Can you imagine that? When you have to come out and say things like that, you are actually saying the opposite. You are an anti-czar of kidnapping when you are the chief sponsor of kidnapping. So those are some of the things. I don't want us to belabor the point. I think the ADF is drinking its own medicine. They are having a taste of their own medicine. Let them enjoy it a little bit. Unfortunately, the only sad thing is that there are boys, innocent boys, who have been manipulated on the ground to do terrible things. And our advice to them is this: reflect on yourself. Look at what your so-called leaders are doing and ask yourself if you are following the right persons. Not just those on the ground, even those in the diaspora who have been supporting this chaos for quite some time. It is time to ask yourself if this is how you want Amazonia to be led. At this, your idols, leaders that you really think can lead Amazonia. People like this, Capo, Ayabacho. These are the people you look up to. If these are the people, then I feel sorry for you. Maybe it's time, like I said, for the ADF to actually take a self-reflection and ask themselves how they got here and make a change for the better. Like Michael Jackson would say, a man in the mirror. Take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself if you like what you see. And if you don't like what you see, then make a change for the better. That is my final message to the ADF. And I hope you're listening. Now, let's move on to something else here, panel. I think at this point we can say without fear or favor that Ambazonia's freedom is only a matter of time. There is no doubt that it is going to happen. Some may still be out there who don't believe it, but if you look at all the signs, the resistance, the tenacity, the determination, what our ARFs are doing on the ground, the increased talent that is coming from ground zero, the precision with which they execute on the ground, they are decimating La Republic du Cameroon, and they are not incurring a lot of death amongst themselves. They do this without incurring a lot of casualties themselves. Our boys are becoming experts in the field. They are managing the technology well. They're now mastering the guerrilla warfare. They are not exposing themselves anymore as before, where they will do a little thing and go and stand on the road and expose themselves and will come and kill them. That is not happening. Only a few of them are still making those mistakes. Some were mounting roadblocks and standing and collecting water tolls and so on, and they were exposing themselves to be killed. They are learning from those mistakes and making changes, and they are staying safer, but they are mastering the art of warfare and inflicting punishment on La République du Cameroon. With these signs and what is happening diplomatically, we can only say that the signs are pointing in the right direction for Amazonia. That Amazonia's freedom is but certain that it is going to happen. It is just a matter of time before we see victory. But for that to happen, we have to stay the course. We have to continue to fund the war. We have to continue to fund the war. We have to continue to motivate our ARFs and educating them on how to take care of our civilians that our civilians are their shields, their protectors, so they don't victimize them. We discourage anything that causes pain on our civilians. We don't encourage it. We cannot say that loud enough. So, Comrade Mark, uh, looking at the trajectory from where we started and where we are now, how optimistic are you of Ambazonia's eventual liberation?
Well, I'm very optimistic because we have passed the evaluation stage of our struggle. Because when the struggle started, I believe 90% of us or Ambazonians were entered into the struggle. They did not know what entailed for us to succeed in the struggle. Some of us got into the struggle thinking that it would be like just one donation. Some thought that it would be 6 months to fight against the military of a country. Some even thought that it would be 1 month. So within this stage of the struggle, we have gone through a lot of metamorphoses with our fighters and with our administration. We have known the genuine people who knows what a struggle is. We have passed through people who came into this struggle because of selfish aims and ambitions. And we have also passed through fighters that came into this struggle fighting because they did not know what they were fighting for. And people who could have deflected at any time. So all what has happened to us has instead strengthened us, because had it been we succeeded within the first 1 year, we could have been in a worse position than we are now. So what happened to us is just paving a way for a brighter future. Even though some of our brave fighters have been killed, I believe our fighters are more tactful now. We are really fighting the war as a guerrilla warfare, because that's how it was supposed to be in the first place. So instead of becoming very rampant, we are very wise. And we have all the material, we have the weapons. So anybody thinking that we are losing the war should think twice, because I bet you the next phase of this war will be the best phase. So anybody who is thinking, who is holding themselves back, should come in and do their little contribution and stay focused, because you do not join this struggle because of any one leader or any one group. You join it because of a series of issues that were plaguing our society. And those issues have not gone away. Those issues are still there, and and now they are aggravated. So we are on the right track, and I believe the few that knows what they are fighting for are going to continue leading the way, while the others who were tired along the line are going to join us, because everything is in place with our boys militarily back home, and we have the weapons. We now know all the tactics. We just need to continue being there, and everything will be okay.
Thank you for those comments there, Comrade Mark. I think one very important thing which you said there is that at the start of this conflict, we had a lot of opportunists, a lot of people who came into this thing thinking that it will be over in 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. They did not understand that revolutions take time to complete. So during this trial moment, there has been a process of exfoliation or filtration, where the chaffs have been removed. The chaffs have been removed, and those who are still in the struggle now are the real patriots, the real dedicated ones, those who knew or who are determined to make sure that, and they are staying the course. It is not. It is, all those opportunities are gone. Those who were causing chaos, causing confusion, they are gone. The true warriors have remained, and those are the ones that are going to liberate Amazonia. That could not be more true. But one thing that I must say here on the part of our areas on the ground is this: their expertise, their expertise has increased with regards of their operations. I don't want to name which operation, but you know what I'm talking about. Because when you look at the potency of the materials they are using has increased. Because when you saw the other attack in Boyo, when it happened, it lifted the vehicle up and turned it across the road. It didn't just blow it and leave it, it completely lifted it up and turned it across the road. Then you saw the one again recently in Bangui, completely beyond recognition, like just a rumble of scrap metal. So the potency of the materials that these guys are using has increased, and the precision of the delivery is more precise, it's more exact at this point. So they are delivering on point, and the magnitude is impressive. This can only be good for Amazonia. And it sends a message to La Republic of Cameroon. We are here to stay. We have taken over our territory. We have taken back our land. We have taken back our dignity. And we are not giving it back no matter what. We are staying the course until Amazonia is free, and you can count on it. So, Chairman Patrick, what do you have to say to that before we move on to the next topic? Chairman Patrick, are you there? I hope you're. I hope you're
Yes.
mute. Okay,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. One thing I'm going to say here is I am maybe more optimistic at this point of the revolution in so many different fronts. Right now, the people who are still funding and fighting on the ground are the real people that came to this revolution with a vision and a mission, not those who just came thinking, oh, this was going to be something that was going to be over
Mm-hmm.
in 6 months or 8 months. One, the Ambazonia fighters are more smart, they are more dedicated, and they are now on the offensive.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that the Republic is doing now is burning houses. If anybody can prove me wrong, how many times have you seen the killing of fighters like La Republic used to do, where they will
Yes.
gather fighters in the house, they'll corner fighters here and there, and these guys are now more intelligent and smart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Their weapon, which is something that even America, that has a budget which is about 500 times more than Cameroon, when they were fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, when the guys on the ground turned to start using IEDs, the US government knew that the only solution was for them to negotiate their way out. Even
Mm-hmm.
in Afghanistan, they got out of Afghanistan sometime in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So we are more optimistic at this point. The other part of it is we have now identified and weeded out those who would have taken power in Amazonia and create another terrorist state or a
Yes.
state with a dictator.
A
Most of
dictatorship.
the people that came in thinking, oh, I'm going to be a minister in Amazonia, I'm taking this position, or I'm doing this because I want a position in Amazonia, most of them are gone. We must still have a few out there. So right now, the Amazonian revolution is taking a dynamic that each revolution is supposed to take. We are at the point where the moment we cross this threshold, this is over for La Republique. And
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that I will say to the Amazonian people is if call yourself a leader at one corner and you have not or you are not able to pick up your phone and call one other leader and say, my brother, we are fighting this for our people, not for ourselves. We need to sit on the same table and figure out how we can work this out. Then you
Mhm.
were not for this revolution.
For the right reasons. Yep.
No, you
Yep.
are in here not for the right reason. So
Yes.
everybody that is out there thinking you are fighting and you cannot talk to your own brother, then you are in a wrong place. Because why would you think that the public should come sit down and talk to you if you cannot talk to your own brother?
Yep.
So
Yep.
it is a moment for everybody that thought I was a leader, I'm a leader, to come together and say, come on, we cannot fight and get to this point and create a chaotic environment where a few people will get to Boya and they start looking at others like enemies. So again, Mike, this is something that we all have fought really hard, and we should all complete this in grand style. I'm more optimistic at this point than before. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like you said, this is the time and the moment could not be better for all Ambazonian leaders to come together and do the right thing for Ambazonia because I sent out an audio, I think it was yesterday, and I said there are two contentions, two opinions of thought that are keeping us apart. Those who do not believe in a democratic Ambazonia are the ones holding us behind because they believe that they have to shoot their way and be the ones sitting in Boya so they can impose their will on the people. And they are opposed to others who think that the right to choose who leads Ambazonia should belong to the Ambazonian people, not to some individual who sits here and calls himself a God ordained leader or someone who just has to get to where and sit there and be another Pobia, an English speaking Pobia. That is not what this fight is all about. When people give up those selfish intentions and they are willing to work for Ambazonia and Ambazonia only, they'll be willing to meet their brothers and sit at the table and decide what is good for Ambazonia, not what is good for an individual. There are some people who say, oh, I don't have to meet anybody because it's just us. It's just us, like Sako. It's just me. I'm not going to sit down and negotiate and agree with anybody because either it's me or nothing. That is not the attitude to have. That is not what this talk is all about. So this is a time for people to come together, put aside their self-interest, and work for the people of Ambazonia. That is the way it should be. Don't you agree, Comrade Mark? Can you hear me? Comrade Mark, you seem frozen. Can you say something? Let me know you are okay there. Can you hear me? Comrade Mark?
Yes, hello.
Okay, yeah. So what's your opinion about this before we go to our last topic? About the need for collaboration at this time.
Well, we have been talking about collaboration for a long time ago, and collaboration is always necessary. But what I will plead for everyone is to forget about favoritism,
Mm-hmm.
and we should focus on our prize, and our prize is homeland. Everybody should know their role in this liberation struggle. Your role can be that you are an activist. Your role can
Mm-hmm.
be that you are helping to fund the struggle. Your role can be both. It just depends. But you should know that the main goal is to fight for our freedom. It's not about any other thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not about you, it's about us. So if we know that as an individual, then the leaders will also know that. Because I believe what is going on with some of our leadership is because some Amazonians are pushing them to behave the way they are because they want to be important. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe unity or collaboration, let's just say collaboration is very, very essential. But
Mm-hmm.
our ego should be behind us.
All right. Thank you there. I would like for us, I would like I mentioned at the start of the program, I would like for us to start painting in the minds of Ambazonians the kind of Ambazonia that we say we're fighting for. Because we just say, okay, we're fighting to free our country, but what would that free country look like? And I want for us, each program that we have now, I want to take a few topics or and talk about something. So today I want us to look at a governance. What kind of government shall we have in Ambazonia? Now, Ambazonians, let me just say here, Ambazonia will be a country where leaders are chosen by the people, to serve them, the people, and not to be served by the people. That means if you are chosen as a leader, your responsibility is to serve the people, not for the people to serve you. That is how the structures of government will set up, where the people will have the right to hold their leaders accountable through periodic, free, and fair elections, where the founding documents of the country are well written, with protections built into it to avoid the abuse of power, where the various arms of government, executive, legislative, and judiciary, are separated and empowered to provide checks and balances to each other, where term limits for the various officials in that government are well spelled out. You see? For example, you may have age limits for presidents, so you don't have living ancestors like we have now leading our people to nowhere, to the graveyard. So there may be requirements for age limits that in order to be president, you cannot, to run for president, you must not be older than a certain age, maybe 65, 70, whatever it is. If you're older than 70, you should not be allowed to run for president. That's just an example, though. The people will decide. Where the constitution is protected from the manipulations of the executive. We have seen that La Republique's constitution is like a note paper to Paul Biya. He simply writes whatever he wants on it whenever he wants. Their constitution is worthless. It has no value, because this man many times has said, I would run for elections 2 terms and that will be it. When the 2 terms are over, he's still sitting there till today. So those are just some of the examples, and I want you, Chairman Patrick and Comrade Mark, to give your own examples of the kind of government that Ambazonia will have, a government that will truly serve the people. What other attributes can you bring to the table that you think will provide? Because when we talk about, especially the first documents that we will establish, we will look at the United States of America and what the founding fathers did to build a foundation for this country. That is what is helping America to be as successful as it is today. Because if the founding fathers did not do a good job, the Constitution of the United States would have been violated already. So what other aspects or elements do you think we can bring to bear to establish, to make sure that the structures of our government are well established to provide the kind of leadership that will guarantee the prosperity of the Amazonian people? Chairman Patrick, why don't you go first? Your audio again.
Hello.
Yeah, okay, you're good now.
Yes. I think I said this earlier, that the Ambazonia revolution is taking its natural course, where those who were going to create a chaotic country are being the right people to set up a foundation for the Amazonian people that nobody, even if you have 200 people who say, oh, we are the people who fought this revolution and we're going to stay here until the kingdom come. That will not happen in Amazonia. The
Yes.
constitution of Amazonia is supposed to be set up where even the president cannot change a single word in that
Yes.
constitution without the approval of the judicial system or the legislative system. So at this particular point, every Amazonia of goodwill should be looking at what can we do to create a good governing system for our people. We
Mhm.
cannot fight for 20, 30 years or for 10 years, and then when we get to Amazonia, we start debating on how we can
Mhm.
run our structures. We have
Mhm.
learned a lot. We've seen everything. We've seen people who are about to build a dictatorial system in Amazonia. Some of them have been kicked out. Some of them
Mhm.
are they running around calling themselves leaders.
Mhm.
But right now, Amazonians are more smart. They have what it takes to build a foundation that will be
Mhm.
unshakable, that will be a beacon in Africa where every African nation will be looking at Amazonia and asking questions. How did this country come together in a short period and they have structures that people are respecting and they are able to provide a democratic system that is unshakable. So it is all our own endeavor to make sure point. We don't want to get to boy and start trying to do it. Like we learned
Yes.
from the guy who was talking to us last week from Eritrea. They made some mistakes when they were fighting the oil revolution. And
Mhm. Yeah, I think Chairman Patrick is driving and his network is a bit shaky there. Um, um, Comrade Mark, why don't you take over from here? I know that Comrade Patrick is driving, so his network is not very stable. Maybe when he gets somewhere where it's a bit more stable, he can come back in. And I would like also that if it's possible, maybe our viewers can also chime in. Maybe we'll put a phone number up. But in the meantime, Comrade Mark, why don't you come in here and give your own opinion of what you think uh, a new
Yes, I
Ambazonian
mean,
government should look like? Yeah.
as you were saying, you were talking about strong institutions because
Yes.
strong institutions is the key of a successful government, like the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature.
Mhm.
So that is those are the three things that are key for a government to be successful. And before that, we need to have a good legislature, a legislature that is well represented and that cannot be manipulated
Mhm.
by the executive. Because in most cases, the executive manipulates the legislature. If you look at La République du Cameroon and all the other African countries with bad dictatorship and bad governance, the executive is the cause because the legislature is not really independent. They are tied
Mhm.
to the executive that manipulates them. So, in order for us to be very successful, we should continue doing what we are trying to do in order to completely separate the executive from the legislature and to make sure that the legislature is to be very powerful to discipline the executive. Because if you look at at the early stages of our struggle, especially the IG, you've seen that in all of the cases, the executive is trying to do what is happening to all the African countries. It is trying to
Mhm.
influence the legislature, and when it doesn't succeed, it tries to dissolve the legislature. So we should make sure that our executive is strong. And for now, in this war, our Restoration Council has been acting as our executive, and since
Mhm.
our judiciary, our legislator, please, And since our executives have been very corrupt or trying to be very powerful, we need to support our legislature, which is our Restoration Council, to give us that solid foundation as it has been happening, because our judiciary now is non-existent because we have not secured our country yet. So we need to continue following our
Yes,
strong
yes,
legislation.
yes. Yes, yes, and that is one of the things that has made it very difficult for us to have the kind of government we have out here, because the means of enforcement is not there. We don't have the means to enforce our rules because we are working in a virtual environment. But like you said, it is important for us not only to establish the rules, because having a good document is one thing, but the means of enforcement is quite something else. But there are other arms that a good government must stand on. It must have a free press, and especially when it comes to appointments, the appointment of those will be in charge of things like elections cannot be left in the hands of the executive. That must be taken away from the executive branch, because if the executive branch is allowed to appoint those in charge of elections, then it is a guarantee that they will get the benefit. So that must be put in the hands of the legislature. The legislature should handle that, take it from the executive, and the courts must be there to monitor what is going on, so that you have these checks and balances. Then balance that with a free press that is ready to call out any wrongdoing, and not have journalists persecuted, jailed, caused to disappear, killed, and their bodies mutilated, like what is happening in La Republique du Cameroon. We must set up these structures to provide support to the government that will be in place. A free press is a must, and making sure that you take away some responsibilities that can cause corruption from the executive, like the appointments, to make sure that they do not have the means to influence how elections are conducted or the outcome of elections. These things we have, like Chairman Patrick was saying, we cannot wait till we get to Boya before talking about these things. We have to have a template. As a matter of fact, it proved to the international community that we will not be a failed state when we have these things. It only adds to our credibility to be able to govern ourselves if we can demonstrate that we know what we are looking for and we are ready to implement it. It gives them the assurance, because what a lot of these international communities say is, we don't want you to be another failed state like this one. We don't want you to be another failed state like that one. But if we can demonstrate by these examples, the documents we have, the discussions we have, it will give them the assurance that no, these people, we think they are ready. Let's give them a chance. Chairman Patrick, I don't know if you are back to a comfortable position where you can speak. Then maybe you can come in again.
Yeah, I think, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Yes, I think really giving this information for every leader, every Amazonian to start taking it, because some of our brothers and sisters have taken the mentality of, if I'm in the government, then the country is fine. We should take that out. We should become stewards of our own country, of our government, where if we think our president is doing something wrong, we can be able to speak up. I will give an example here in the United States where the Democratic Party is in power, but we have a Democrat from West Virginia who is the most vocal senator. And when he
Yes,
says no, the president cannot move an inch. The president
yes,
always have to go back to this guy and say, okay, do you think we can work this out? He will say, I will vote with the Republicans if you don't do it this way. So we need to have a country where we can challenge our leaders, we can challenge our president, and we can make them do the right thing for our people, not for us who are in power.
Mhm.
So our idea here is to make sure every Ambazonia is an independent-minded person. And
Mhm.
one thing I'm going to say is there is a guy in Belgium that I spoke to maybe 2 years ago, and I asked him a question about why are you supporting the ADF. This guy said the amount of money I have given Ayabacho with a promise that he was going to give me a ministerial post when we get to Ambazonia is too much that I will not let the ADF fall apart. That is just one of a few things that make me laugh. I have the same thing going on within our structures here in the United States where we have a few ladies in Momo, and I call it Momo because that's my country. They make me
Mhm.
sometimes feel ashamed because they are hanging around with Sako, not because they think they are doing the right thing, because they were funding the revolution thinking they were going to get payback from Sako to be leaders, to be
Yes.
ministers or whatever in Boya.
So yeah,
So
yeah.
we should be selfless leaders in Amazonian structure. We should be selfless leaders, contributing for the fact that we wanted I'm not because so matter of all Amazonians to start thinking. And
Mhm.
Comrade Mike, one thing I'm going to say, Tibo Nash was asking last maybe 2-3 weeks ago about what is
Uh-huh.
going on in Ambazonia. He said
Mhm.
something that every Amazonian should be thinking. If you are smart enough, he said, I'm just a messenger. Just understand that the international community has, they might, I'm not going to say it's 100% certainty that he's been sent, but this guy has been sent to come put these people together so that even if they want to help us, they should know we're helping people that will be able to help themselves, not to
Yes.
create another liability for themselves. So, Ambazonians, let's think about what we're doing to this revolution and not become too partisan where we cannot have an open mind to discuss what can help us going forward as a people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And when you mentioned the ministerial thing there, it was funny because you remember that there are some people who are with Sako today because Sako duped them into signing up for his Bitcoin and insurance policies. So they are stuck with him. I think I presented to you here the other time a list of investors into the insurance scheme, and you have most of them were people in Sarko's cabinet. So they are stuck with him, not because they want to be with him, but now they are protecting their investment. And that is the problem. You cannot do that as a leader because now those people are not serving Ambazonia, they are serving themselves or they are serving the person who is called a leader. They are not protecting their interests. That is the problem, that we cannot have that in Ambazonia. We cannot have that. Nepotism will Ambazonia cannot and will not be allowed to become a dictatorship. No, it will not happen for the Ambazonians. That will not happen. So those who are getting up and flexing their muscles and thinking that they kick their way to Boya and become dictators, you're wasting your time. Ambazonians have paid too much of a price to allow themselves to be compelled to live under a dictatorship. We are sick and tired of what Paul Biya is doing, and we are done with that. We are done with that. The number is here if you want. But before the numbers come up, I think I got some comments here. Comrade Fritz says Ambazonia will have a solid system that will take care of public health, em- employment, criminal justice, immigration, educational reform, and disaster preparedness. You see, Comrade Fritz, we are only starting today with the first topic, which is governance, right? The next time I come on, we will pick another topic, maybe education, infrastructure, anything. We will go through the military. What kind of military are we going to have? What kind of police are we going to have? We will go through all these things: taxation, customs, corruption, you name it, the public health, education. We will go through all that and start giving our people an idea of that utopia we are trying to build in Ambazonia. That will guarantee prosperity, happiness for our people. That's all we're fighting for. It is not for us out here. Everywhere for us out here, I wouldn't even be sitting here. I wouldn't even be sitting here because I already have what I need where I am. There's nothing in Ambazonia that I want to go and get. For those who want to go and become ministers, you can fight for that. I'm good where I am. So, but you see, the thing is, when I get a call from home, or you see images, let me narrate something to you. Of recent, I got some images of a community work that was taking place in my hometown, my village. And people will go out there with machetes, hoes and cutlasses, and I see them trying to cut grass. And I look at it and I say to myself, these are the same tools that my great-grandparents used for community work. More than 60 years, 70 years after, it's like we are frozen on the same spot. We hear of community work, you still see people with rudimentary shovels, the handles are not even good, machetes trying to cut grass. There is just no change in the living standards of the people. Back then, even you could find pipe-on water flowing. Today, nothing. And I'm saying, so there is no mechanized. It's as if the technology has not reached us, except for the cell phone, of course, which is everywhere. But why should we still be using these same tools 60, 70 years after? Why can't we make our own stuff? Why can't we make these things and use to make our work easy? Mechanized farming, things like that. Industrialized agriculture. We are frozen in place, and it just pains me that even when you see something that could be used to help make the lives of these people easy back home, and you send it, the custom official will sit there and say, give me 5 million. They don't even know the value of what they are assessing. They ask for so much money, and many a times people just abandon the things there and leave, and then the people are suffering unnecessarily. So, as I was saying, we will get to that, but we have the only way Ambazonia will grow is we start making our own stuff. We have to make our own stuff, create employment for our people, so our people stop going through the desert, going through the jungles, dying on the high seas because they're going somewhere when we can create those same conditions right there back home. So we will continue to follow through and talking about these things because people need to know what we are fighting for. We are not just fighting to go and be in government because that's what some people think. No, that's not it. That is not it. It is to create opportunities for growth. Give people, open their brains so they can think creatively and make things happen. It seems no calls are coming through. Comrade Mark, maybe you have something to say there. We are almost getting to the end of the program anyway. So your next statement, please. And maybe in about a few minutes, we're rounding up.
Yeah, as we're talking about the institutions, I will still continue to emphasize that the main thing is the legislature. Because if you look at all the dictatorship and all the troubles in Africa, the legislature has been the part of the government that has been part upon. So if our legislature is really strong and solid, then there will be little or nothing any corrupt executive or judiciary can do about it. Because if you look at the US government and the other functional democracies, their legislature is very powerful. that the government cannot change the date of the elections at any time they want. The executive can never change the date of the election. The executive, the legislature is also the part of the government that vets almost all the positions of government, because the legislature is voted in. It's not a selected few. So I believe that is the best part, and that's why our Restoration Council is very important, because
Mhm.
that's where we are practicing how to have a functional democracy.
Yes, and may I add here, may I add that in order to make sure that the government actually represents it represents the people's wishes, or is the will of the people. Even governors should be elected by the people, because
Mhm.
those are the closest administrators to the people. The governors should be elected, not appointed. If you are a governor, you are elected by the people, so that when you are not doing well, they have a right to vote you out. They have a right to vote you out. Uh, 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 Not to talk of mayors and so on. You are elected, and some judges too. But now let me read what Rose Bush, and this is something that Brazilians have to take part in putting forth their ideas to be taken into consideration. Unlike some people who just think that they'll go there, fight, go to where, go and sit there and impose on people, we have to make sure the system is as democratic as possible. So Rose Bush writes here, I think that only an overwhelming majority of Ambazonians could change the constitution if and only if it's absolutely necessary and through a referendum. The executive, judiciary, and legislators should not have any power to alter even a comma in the Constitution. The base and spinal cord of the Constitution should be Ambazonia, its people, and the future generations. But the best thing should be a solid and well drafted Constitution like that of the US that can last for centuries, but untouchable and unaltered. Well, these are the kinds of opinions that we want to see expressed here. I don't know if every the alteration of the constitution can be by a referendum, but I think it has to be by a certain percentage of the legislature. I think whether it's 70% or 60%, whatever threshold is established, then I think that is what will be used. But I don't think I don't know if it should be by a referendum, because it may render a referendum thing almost overused.
Redundant. Mhm.
But I think the bar should be set so high that before you get there, it must be absolutely necessary. That is absolutely correct. Um, uh, um, if you have your comment, please just send in your comment. Uh, uh, okay, let me see. Comrade Fish writes again here. Change will come to Ambazonia immediately. We take charge of our homeland, from education, immigration, from agriculture to foreign policies. Absolutely, absolutely. That is exactly what we are fighting for. So I think I want to thank Chairman Patrick and Comrade Mark for coming on today. I think Ambazonians have appreciated the ideas that you have put forth. They have enjoyed the deliberations. And these are the kinds of interactions that Ambazonians want to hear, not just to come use this network to insult others. We are trying to educate the people, to enlighten them, motivate them, encourage them, and to give them a positive message to take home that Ambazonia's destiny is brighter. They should not be discouraged. They should continue to support the struggle, and that we are marching, we are making the right steps in the right direction. So I'll give you each maybe a few, maybe a minute each to make your final statements, and we will call it a day. Uh, Chairman Patrick, since you are a bit steady now, before you start being shaky, why don't you go first? Can you check your audio a little bit?
Yes,
Okay, you're good.
yeah, I'm
You're good
here. I
now.
don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can
All
hear
right,
you.
thank you so much. I just want to take this opportunity to say 21 gun salute to the fighters on the ground, because what you all are doing is more than anybody can ever expect. You all were pushed to the wall and you pick up the arms. The diaspora came out to support you financially. One thing you have to understand is that we are fighting this war in so many different fronts. The diaspora is fighting financially, and you are fighting with your own lives. At the end of the day, the Amazonian people are going to speak. This will not be the diaspora. This, this will be the people on the ground who will make the final call what, for what they want. We have to all look at the referendum idea, because even if we go down and sit with the Republic for 20 years trying to negotiate anything, it will end up and the question will be, let the people speak. But we have had the opportunity for all Amazonians to come out in one voice and say, we should go ahead and get a referendum. And if the people say, yes, we want to live independently, then we'll sit back and say, okay, what are the modalities? What can we put in place in a, after the referendum? Because La Republique, they have been very quiet when it comes to this referendum idea, because they are so scared. They are very, very concerned that if all Amazonians can get together on one table and say we want this referendum, it is going to take La Republique to the next level, because they will have no choice but to give these people the opportunity to decide. And to those who think they are on the ground being blacklegs, I will tell you, when you drive from Bamenda to Boya, when you drive from Bamenda to even Mbunda, then you will know why this is all going on. Nobody wanted to fight. Nobody wanted to see blood. But when you are pushed to the wall, you are going to fight back. And to the
Mhm.
forces on the ground who are Amazonians fighting for La Republic, we want to tell you, you have the opportunity to change the dynamics. You have seen in all the countries in the world where the military, a few military guys will come up and say, enough is enough. These old people in Yaoundé will not even be able to walk, to run. They will be begging to find a way to go to their retirement homes. So it is all on you to make the right decision, because at the end of the day, when this country becomes a fair country, you will have no place to fight. And if that opportunity comes to the Amazonian fighters, that La Republique pull out their troops carelessly and let this land without any administration, we want the Amazonian fighters to make sure you protect our people, because La Republic will do that. When the moment comes, they will run away. They want to see a chaotic Amazonia, but you are all smart enough to know. You organize your people, you talk to your chiefs, the chiefs will be able to take care of any legal issue until Amazonia has a good and formidable structure where we can run our country going forward. So thank you so much, and let's keep fighting. It is not going to be on La Republic's terms, it's going to be on our terms, how we want to govern ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chairman Patrick, for coming on board. And let me just make this announcement that Comrade Chris will be coming, giving a major speech early this coming week. Stay tuned and look forward to that speech. You cannot afford to miss it. Comrade Chris will be coming on with a speech either Monday or Tuesday, one of those days. You will see the flyer. Look for the flyer out there. He has a major speech to make early next week. So you look forward to, and I have this message here from Siloswa. Please, I'm happy for the regularity and the richness and popularity of the debates. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. That is why we are here, and we always appreciate the feedback from you. Keep on sending us your comments. Anything that we are doing and which we were not doing that well, let us know so we can improve. We do accept constructive criticism. What we don't encourage are unnecessary distractions and insults that do not add any value to our struggle. So at this point, I would like to give the chance to Comrade Mark to make his closing statements, and we will call it a day. Comrade Mark.
Yes, I would like to thank Chairman Patrick and yourself for joining the discussion, and I want to thank the viewers for listening to us. I also want to thank our fighters for trying to protect us, protecting our families, and trying to secure the homeland. Also, I wish to encourage all Amazonians who are still in this struggle for their resilience, because you have not run away from anything. You were there from the beginning, or you joined along the way, and you know the assignment. You know that the assignment is to be for us to be free. You've not gone anywhere. And I want to encourage you that we are in this together. We know why we are fighting. Freedom is never free. Freedom is hard work. Freedom is persistent. Freedom is persistent. Freedom is resilient. So also, I want to leave this discussion today with food for thought to those who were fighting with us, who were with us before, and who have left for one reason or the other. There's this question I want to ask you guys. The question is, why were we here? Why were we fighting? Were we not fighting because of the injustice and everything that has been going on back home, and that our country has been taken away from us? Were we not fighting because of all of these issues? Has those issues been resolved? If they have not been resolved, why have you left the struggle? Because I know we'll give reasons that individuals, were you fighting because of individuals, or were you fighting to restore homeland? So I want you to have a reflection. If you have a reflection and the answer to the question is that, all of our issues that we've been fighting for against La Republique has not been resolved, it's time for you to have a reflection and come back and join us so that we continue this journey together, because we are resilient and we are not going anywhere. Why we are not going anywhere is because it's not because we don't have issues, we don't have differences with others. Why we are not going anywhere is because we have not accomplished why we were fighting. We have not had homeland secured. So please come and join us and reflect on the question that I asked, and we are waiting for you. Thank you again.
Thank you. That is a very important question there, Mark. A very important question, which I think every right-thinking Ambazonian out there should take some time to reflect on that question. Why did you join the fight in the first place? Why are you not in the fight now? Have the reasons that you joined the fight changed? Are you now satisfied with the conditions that exist now as compared to when we started? If the conditions have remained the same, why are you not in the struggle anymore? And to that, I will say this. In a family, when you are in a family, you are not all the same. Some people behave well, some people don't behave well. Some people are abusive, some are not abusive. But just because you have some difficult characters in your family, you don't jump out and say, I'm no more a member of this family. You don't disown your family just because you have some difficult characters. Whether you have a brother who is a thief or you have one who is a murderer, you don't disown that family. Your family is your family. The family of Ambazonia is the family of Ambazonia. Once you are in, you are in. Checking out is not an option. So my question to those who, for some reason, are now standing out, looking from outside, are those who are still struggling to liberate the homeland. When you look at La Republique today, with a brain-dead president, with a line of succession that is not very clear, it's not clear who is going to lead that country tomorrow. When you look at everything falling apart, infrastructure, governance, discipline, everything is falling apart. Are you hopeful for the future? Do you think tomorrow will be better than today in that country? And if you don't believe that tomorrow will be better, what are you doing to make sure that we secure our country? There is a potential for a civil war breaking out in La Republique du Cameroon once Paul Biya is gone. What do you think about the consequences of that? Where will you be? These are the things that every rightful thinking Ambazonian should be reflecting on and asking yourself why you are not supporting this struggle. This is an opportunity. We have a golden opportunity to take back our homeland, especially those of us in the diaspora who are benefiting from the sacrifices of others who sacrifice to make the countries where we are resident what they are. What is your own give back to your own people? What is your own give back? If you can't even do that for your own people, then why are you benefiting from the sacrifices of people you don't even know, people who are not even related to you? So I don't want to belabor the point, but I think it's just a moment for all of us to realize that this world, sometimes you have to give back because you benefited from something else that somebody did, somebody you may not even know. And it is only right for you to give back. That's why in this country, sometimes when people make so much money, they just go out sometimes and give some charity to people they don't know. Make someone else's life better. It is one of the most rewarding things that I've come to experience. When you know that you have done something to change someone else's life for the better, there is nothing that can satisfy you as much as that. That is the most rewarding experience you can have. When you know that you have contributed something to lift someone else up who needs help. And there is no better way of lifting someone up than giving that person a chance to grow up and live his or her own God-given full potential in this world. There are a lot of our people who are suffering not for lack of knowledge, not because they are lazy, but because the conditions in place are so stifling that they cannot live their full potential, their full God-given potential. All we are trying to do is to create those conditions that will allow them to live, especially for those who are willing to work. So fellow Ambazonians, join us and let's free our homeland. And with that, again, we cannot thank our ARFs on the ground who are doing the arduous task of resisting the enemy. We stand with you, we support you, we appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, treat our people well. We will do our utmost best to give you what you need to finish the task. We are almost there. Trust me, we're almost there. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll call it a day on this set of the War Zone today. Take good care of yourselves and each other. And with that, the War Zone is out. Thank you.